Shoptalk number 5.
Welcome back. We are going to talk about business today. Every guitar maker loves to talk about business and how much money they're making.
We do love business.
Actually, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's a fun.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean we're good at it.
And yeah. But this is in response to a few questions we got, and they just happened to line up perfectly, and it just seemed like it made sense to make a shop talk about business in the guitar making world. And I'm going to start right off the bat and say I am not great at it.
Okay.
I'm working on it though.
Okay.
But
I'm going to start right off the bat and say I am absolutely horrible at it. So this is going to be really good talk.
do as we say, not as we do.
Yeah.
Well.
I mean, yeah, it'll be interesting. Yeah. All right. Really, when it comes down to it, when we're talking about the business, I think we need to clarify too, like, what are you going to be making money doing?
Yeah.
You know, why Luthier is not just guitar building.
Yeah. Luthier, I think,
or is it?
It's much easier to make.
Let's say Luthier could be just guitar building, but that's not what we're talking about. Just
right.
Guitar.
Yeah. I mean, I think financially a good way to go into Luthier is guitar repair or like instrument repair. That can be a pretty steady income. If you're a guitar maker, it is going to be, this income is not going to be steady for many years.
Yeah. In fact, is there a possibility that you could make a lot on the front end and then see a drop off?
Yeah, it could be, yeah.
Like, you think about people who have like a lot of friends and family who are saying, hey, make me a guitar, do this for me. Oh yeah, I'll buy that. And you're selling it a little bit cheaper because
well, yeah, that's interesting because I feel like that's a great way to go because you're getting that experience.
Yeah.
One of my main, I guess, what I would recommend to guitar makers that are just starting is to just build guitars.
Right.
Because you need the experience. You need to learn from all those experiences and mistakes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But just building guitars, you're going to get comfortable with it after a certain number of guitars.
Right.
And there's no other way around that, really.
Yeah. Yeah, and how else do you do it but to sell it for a little bit cheaper and hopefully have some people who want it?
Yeah. I think the reality is the guitar making life is not an easy slog.
Right.
As far as financials go. You really do have to approach it from a business perspective.
Yeah.
And I mean, marketing, another thing I'm working on.
Right.
But I think it's super important. Right now, I don't have any dealers, which is, it's been kind of a kick in the pants.
Yeah.
For me because, especially during COVID, because all of a sudden the visibility for my instruments isn't there.
Right.
Now I am working on a couple arrangements right now, but dealers are very important. It's tricky to get into dealers if you're just starting also. Most dealers want you to have a certain number of
obviously
guitars made already,
which is nice.
I understand. But dealerships, marketing.
You know, too, like, in order to be financially viable, first of all,
it's all relative.
Right. You have to look at what you're working with. Your tools, the woods that you're using.
Well, also just your lifestyle.
The shop, like access, electricity, you know. So it's different for each person because of where you live, the access you have. Like, for example, little plug for Mile End Co-op in Montreal. I mean, there's an idea which works you know, if you can get into with a group of people who are already doing a decent job, and in some cases a really, really good job, it may be harder to find people like that who are willing to share their space, but that one, you know, it's obviously happened. So we have examples like Mile End. You get to pay less money and get some,
Oh yeah.
you know, learning experiences of working around others who are, yeah, I mean, that's, anyway.
Invaluable.
So, yeah,
really.
invaluable. So having something like that could change how much money you need to make at first anyway,
Yeah.
you know.
Especially with the upfront machinery cost. You know,
Yeah.
as far as getting set up,
Exactly.
it's not an easy.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Yeah.
You see, I just found Zach. Now I can take my time, you know. I don't have to make money right away. So if you have a way to do that, was that a way? I don't know if it's a good idea or not. Actually, I mean, it's great to get into a co-op, but like where I'm working full time and trying, it just takes so long to finish. I don't know if it's really any good. I don't like it. Yeah.
Well, I think I'd like to add something there too. But this is sort of just a philosophical aspect to it. But I know Holly and I, our lifestyle works really well with guitar making because we're still working on our house right now, but we're going to be off the grid and just like a low budget lifestyle.
Right.
And I've always wanted that just because it aligns with my values, and I think
Right.
I've never wanted to let money control what I do. So becoming a guitar maker and going for it full steam ahead was definitely a part of that because you don't do it for financial reasons.
Right. Is anybody making money then?
Yes. Yeah.
Of
definitely.
course.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Overpriced guitars.
Even some underpriced guitars.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's.
We're not going to throw everybody under the bus here. Who's making money? Not everybody who makes guitars and makes money is selling their guitars overpriced.
No.
Just 80% of them.
No. No, I mean, I think another important business model is to be honest. And I see this all the time. Guitar makers, well-known ones too, claiming that, you know, certain things do this to their guitars, or
Right.
and there's no scientific backing or anything, which
Yeah.
that part really frustrates me because well, personally, I don't feel right lying to a customer.
Yeah.
And I
He just lied about that, by the way.
Right.
He lies all the time.
Yeah.
He's so good at it, he just made it look like he did. No, just kidding. Just kidding. Ooh, don't put that part in the video. He edits the video so he can cut that out.
I probably won't.
Yeah, be honest.
Yeah. Be honest from the get-go. If you don't know something, just be honest. Why do people buy guitars from you? Most of the reason is because it's you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your personality plays a big
Right.
part in. And I remember talking to Kevin Hennig from Symphony Music, and he was telling me that he's only had 2 or 3 guitars actually returned, and they were all because the buyer decided they didn't like the maker as a person.
Wow.
So,
Not because of the guitar.
no, nothing to do with the guitar.
Whew. So if you're a bit of a butthead, don't start making guitars because you won't sell any. Although
Well.
there are some. Just kidding. Not kidding. Just kidding.
I think we're gonna get some dislikes on this.
So again, you can make money.
Yeah.
It's just not easy.
No.
But how do you make that money? Well, as you said, first of all, friends, family, you know, find people around you locally who are willing to support you by buying your guitars and give it to them at a deal, and you can get a lot of guitars
Yeah.
go through. And then find a dealer, maybe make connections that way. We haven't mentioned it, but it's something that we really love to be a part of, and that is guitar shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, not to sell guitars necessarily, although we have seen some who can.
Yeah.
But it's a great place to build networking, yeah, and get connected with potential dealers. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, there's a bit of a misconception about guitar shows that you go to sell guitars, and it's just not the reality.
For some.
I think it used to be that way.
Yeah.
Like in the earlier days of guitar shows, it seemed like there were more guitar sales happening. And stuff,
Right.
But now it seems like sales aren't, for most guitar shows.
Yeah.
There are a few that the sales are actually pretty good, but for most guitar shows, it's mainly networking,
Right.
and maybe orders following the show.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's actually gets us into the other question is like, how do you market things?
Mm-hmm.
You know, how does marketing happen? That's one way that you can market is be there. If people are buying guitars because of who you are, meeting you at a guitar show potentially could lead to somebody saying, hey, I would really like their guitar. I like their philosophy. I like the way they approach things.
Yeah.
You know, you have a much better chance of selling to somebody after that.
I have a great example, actually.
Yeah.
Joel me showed.
Mm-hmm.
The nicest guy you'll ever meet.
Mm-hmm.
And he's killing it.
Yeah.
Like he's actually doing really well and getting orders.
I never met him and I want to buy one of his guitars.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, personality definitely plays a big role. And,
Yeah.
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 What else? Marketing. Also, and I haven't done this, but yet, but giving a guitar to a well-known musician that's going to be in the public eye,
Right.
is a good idea, I think. And I don't know. I guess living in the middle of nowhere doesn't really help, but but yeah, going to somebody's show and meeting them afterwards and actually showing them your guitar and saying, you know, hey, do you want to play this?
Yeah, you have to put some money into it, which is kind of scary. You know, you're already putting money into your equipment, your woods, everything, and now you got to kind of maybe give away a guitar. But it seems like if you can, and this is based off what we're seeing others who are achieving, it looks like high levels. So I mean, we don't have their numbers in front of us, have done, but yeah, if you can get obviously, if people see your guitar and they see, you know, somebody they like playing it, they're more likely to think of you when they think of a good guitar.
Or associate it as a good brand.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because if you're nowhere in the public eye, then, you know, how do they know they can trust that your guitar is not going to fall apart next year?
Yeah, exactly. And then, which leads to be consistent in your builds.
Yeah.
You know, you can't just...
Yeah, and stylistically, there are a ton of guitar makers out there now.
Mm-hmm.
You need to stand out.
Yeah.
Which is very tricky because
Right.
everything's being done, but yeah, I think you need to come up with something a little bit different and actually make it your style.
Yeah.
And then hone in on that, basically.
And this is based off what we have done, the research we've done, and then just watching and basically following our hearts. But
analyzing response.
Yeah, and analyzing response. Yeah, that do something that you would want. Because quite frankly, every guitar has a different audience. So why don't you build one that different target market.
Yeah.
Build one that you would want, and then you're likely to make a guitar that's great for that target market, rather than trying to build something you think that other people are going to want. How do you judge it? You can never judge it.
I guess that's how I approach my building too, because when I'm building guitars and searching for that sound, I'm going for the sound that I think sounds best.
Yeah.
And I've had lots of compliments of people saying like, your guitars sound awesome.
Right.
But all that means is that what I like is the same as what they like.
Mm-hmm. It also
Objective.
Yeah, it also means that you know how to tweak that sound to even make it sound better.
Yeah.
Because it's better for you. You're still the same target market. Mm-hmm. So you can even get a better sounding guitar for yourself.
Yeah.
So you're always like able to hunt down your dream guitar, so to speak, which would be somebody's dream guitar.
Yeah.
Which, okay, all that then wraps around again to marketing. How do you get recognized? So like you were saying, like if you're at a show.
Yeah. If I went to a live show, and this has happened multiple times, there's a guitar player on stage. The guitar sounds awesome, but I can't recognize what kind of guitar it is. Mm-hmm. Which is, it's cool, but it doesn't help the maker because how do I don't know what kind of guitar that was.
Right.
So if the guitar is recognizable, like, oh look, that guitar has a Trios guitar's headstock. I know that shape.
Right.
It's a Trios guitar.
But even that being said, you have to know who Trios Guitars is.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
To some extent, and recognize that headstock.
Yeah.
This is actually interesting. So marketing, like, do you put your name on there?
The logo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's another. I mean, putting a logo on the headstock.
Right.
It definitely tells people what kind of guitar it is, but not at a long distance away.
No.
Yeah.
There
are a few builders out there that are making guitars.
Right.
And just by looking at the shape of the guitar, I can tell whose it is.
Right, you can, yeah. It is interesting though, because you think, it just seems like I'm being too centered or too self-focused to put my own logo on there.
Yeah.
But in reality, maybe you're giving them the opportunity to then know that's one of your guitars, or you might be doing them a benefit. Just make a good logo.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the one, the couple that you put it on, I love it.
Yeah, it's grown on me. I used to not like the idea because I liked the headstock as another area for artistic embellishment. But I like the simplicity of just, plain headstock with a nice little logo in it or something.
Yeah. Well, and
it's nice. Yeah.
It could go both ways. If you're selling so many guitars and you recognize, then it doesn't even matter anymore.
Yeah.
Necessarily. Mm-hmm. You might still want to keep that aesthetic, but you don't have to. Mm-hmm. But when you're, you have to have some way of standing out.
Yeah.
And to be recognized. Mm-hmm. And so what else, marketing-wise, would you suggest?
Marketing-wise?
Yeah. So how do you get yourself recognized? How do you get people to...
Gosh. I think just keep making guitars. Get them out there.
Instagram?
Stories? I've never had a sale through Instagram or Facebook. I think it's actually more guitar makers on Instagram and Facebook. But I think it's a good idea as far as being in the public eye. Right. Because I may have gotten a sale through Instagram, but I don't know it because they went to my website.
But even a website, I mean, you don't get that many. There's just not a lot of traffic.
It's mainly word of mouth.
Word of mouth
or people that have tried my guitars somewhere. I think it's unrealistic to try to sell your guitars or be it an Instagram. I don't know. Be somebody that's really popular on Instagram and expect sales from it. Right.
I wanted to then say, if you really want to make money, so as Zach said, he has cut back on how much money he's using so he can free himself up to build more. But if you really need that money or want that money for other reasons, like buying recording equipment, It's pretty important. Buying dirt bike stuff, drums, other guitars, a bass guitar. Yeah. You may have to get another job. Maybe look at a couple areas in guitar building that you can do and then build in conjunction with, like finishing.
Yeah, that's tricky though.
Yeah.
'Cause if you're finishing somebody's guitar, that's a lot of responsibility.
Right. But it is an area you could get into if that was really interesting to you. Repair work.
Yeah, definitely.
It's definitely one that we've seen more of. But yeah, you could also do, I don't know, backs and sides.
Yeah.
You could be cutting wood, and then using...
More familiar with the material itself.
Right. You could even be working for a wood shop that's selling backs and sides and then using that money to then build on your own.
Yeah, another thing I would highly recommend is ask guitar makers if they will take you as an apprentice.
Right.
Without pay. It's free education.
I saw somebody post that they would...
Ask.
Maybe was it him that says he's looking for somebody?
Yeah.
And that's right. And he's not paying?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
You have to ask him.
Yeah. But it did say in the long run he's hoping that would turn into a full-time job for that person, was what I think I noticed in the post. So yeah, that's another one.
Yeah, and it's definitely like if you're doing it for no money, it's fairly enticing to a guitar maker. I know it's tricky because most guitar makers don't want to take an apprentice, and I've kind of decided that I'm not as comfortable as I first thought I was with it, because I like to be totally in control with.
He's a bit of a control.
Yeah, I guess so. With my guitars, yes. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt to ask, and I guess I could put a plug in there for Sergey too, because Sergey teaches guitar making courses. They're phenomenal, and sometimes he'll take students on as apprentices afterwards. But the amount you will learn there is incredible, and it's a really, really good start to a career in guitar making. So,
yeah. Yeah, that's a great way to go.
Yeah.
I mean, any way that you can make some money in the field that you want to get into, it's worth it. Yeah. I mean, if you just happen to be a really brilliant guitar maker right off the bat, and people want your guitars, dive right in. But then could you make a video and tell us how you did it? Because we want to know. Yeah.
Do we want to talk about pricing?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Pricing.
That's another tricky one.
It is huge. So let's start with the conundrum in that when you build a guitar, so I'm going to because I'm closer to this than he is for the beginning. You're building a guitar and you're not sure, you've never sold anything that you've ever done for any kind of chunk of money, let alone $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. And now all of a sudden, the expectation is that you will, I think. But why? And then, it's just hard. Why? I don't want.
Okay, so let's break it down.
Yeah.
Okay, so
why do I have to sell it for so much?
How much money goes into a guitar in materials?
A lot more than I thought.
Yeah.
Way more than I thought.
It can be, oftentimes it's around $1,000. I think that's a safe estimate. It can be much more.
Yeah.
It can be tens of thousands of dollars.
Right. But if we're just, you're run-of-the-mill sort of handmade guitar.
Yeah.
And that's both acoustic and electric. Actually, we've kind of sorted out at both falling around in that range. Depending on what pickups you get.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So
because there's that side, right? The acoustic has far more stuff in it that actually costs more. And then all of a sudden you get a good set of pickups. I mean, I'm not saying all good pickups have to be expensive, but if you get some good ones that are expensive, then you.
Yeah. Your costs are higher. Yeah, but yeah, that just brings you to the fact that handmade guitars have to be fairly expensive.
Mm-hmm.
In order for you to continue building guitars.
Yeah.
But you don't want to go too expensive either, because your guitar is worth what your experience is.
Right.
And the quality that's in the guitar also, if it's gonna last many years or not.
Right. Yeah. So what kind of price range are you looking at then? Because we've talked about, like, it's $1,000. That is not including the cost of batteries for the drill over there, drill bits. Oh wait, bandsaw blade, hydro, sandpaper, other sanding tools, the little round thing that spins, and the little round thing that spins, and with sandpaper on it. And by the way, try buying some chisels sometime. Right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you could try making a guitar without chisels. I mean, you can do without some of that, but it does add up.
Yeah.
So how much do you charge? Not you, but how much should one charge?
I think a handmade guitar needs to start at around $3,000. Maybe a little bit less if it's your first or second guitar. My first guitar I priced at $2,800, and I think that was a reasonable price. It's still a great guitar, still kicking, sounds great.
Yeah.
But I wasn't experienced.
Right.
Yeah. There's a whole other side of it too. It's tricky because, and this might just be a what's the word?
Mind block. Might be a mind block.
No, a personal
preference.
No, a personal thought. I don't know. But the pricing of your guitar, I feel like it will also somewhat affect how dealers approach you.
Right. Even not only dealers, actually how buyers approach you.
Yeah. Yeah.
If your guitar is cheap, I don't want to buy a cheap guitar.
Yeah.
Why is it cheap? What kind of tune, what kind of hardware did you put on there so you can make it so cheap? Where did you get your wood from?
Well, also there's this idea out there that if it's the most expensive one you can get, it's the best one you can get.
Right.
And in the guitar making world, that is there's no further thing from the truth.
Right.
I mean, there are some expensive guitars out there that are really good.
Right.
But there are some expensive guitars out there that the joints aren't great. Like the miter joints aren't great. The workmanship's not flawless.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're gonna pay $25,000, $15,000 even, the workmanship better be freaking perfect.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
But don't sell cheap, because you're not going to get the money back for your labor, let alone your expenses, everything else that you didn't even think about.
You don't want to think about labor.
And and then people aren't even going to want to buy it.
Yeah.
Except for the cheapos. I mean, you're nice people, cheapos, but sometimes take a look at what the person you're buying it from has done, and the effort and the time and the money that has gone into it, and consider, would you work for 70 cents an hour? Then you're asking these people to work for 70 cents an hour. Nobody else is going to work for 70 cents an hour, yet you're asking them to work for 70 cents an hour so you can have a guitar at, factory prices, but handmade quality. My rant's over.
Yeah.
Drop the pencil.
Well, yeah.
So to wrap it up.
Yeah. I mean, I think that was a lot of good information for a guitar maker that's just starting, and things that I've learned over the years, things that you might be able to avoid.
Yeah. So to wrap it up, be honest. build as many guitars as you can. Build something that is of quality that you love. Other people will like it. And when you figure out how to make money, let us know so that we can also join you.
Yeah, and there are a lot of guitar makers out there that look like they're doing very successful, and the truth is, we're all struggling. You know,
I think so. The more you dig,
yeah. There's a few that are doing very well, and then most of the rest are,
yeah.
You know, we're all trying to make a wage.
Yep. We're all trying to make a living from creating.
Yeah. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Choice.
So that's it.
Yeah.
It's a little bit less about, well, it's all about building guitars, I guess, because without money, you can't build.
Yeah.
So hopefully make some money. And if you're making money not building guitars, then you can't build because you have no time left. Cheers.
Cheers.
Shoptalk number 5.
Thanks for joining us.